Unit 5, Visualizing the Nation. It is easy enough to represent a ruler through a portrait or a statue or a painting, but what about to give face to a nation? Artists in the 18th and 19th centuries personified nation, means they represented a country as if it were a person. Nations were portrayed as female figures, and the female form that was chosen to personify the nation did not stand for any particular woman in real life. Just an abstract idea was expressed through a person or a thing, and this is the female figure which became an allegory of the nation. Recall French Revolution when artists uh, represented the ideas of liberty, justice, and equality through different symbols like broken chain, a red cap, and blindfolded woman carrying a pair of weighing scales. Yes, so similar female allegories were invented by artists in the 19th century to represent the nation. In France, she was Christian Marine, a popular Christian name, and her characteristics were drawn from those of liberty and the republic, like the red cap, the tricolor, the cockade. Statues of Marine were erected in public squares to remind the public of the national symbol of unity and to persuade them to identify with it. Marine images were marked on the coins and stamps. Similarly, Germania became the allegory of the German nation. In visual representations, Germania wears a crown of oak leaves as the German oak stands for heroism. The artist prepared the painting of Germania on a cotton banner, and this cotton banner was hung from the ceiling of the Church of St. Paul, where the Frankfurt Parliament was convened in March 1848. You can see the image of Germania, the banner, where the picture of Frankfurt Parliament is given in your book. Unit 6, Nationalism and Imperialism. By the last quarter of the 19th century, means 1870s, nationalism no longer retained its liberal democratic sentiment as it was during first half of the century, but became a narrow creed with limited ends. Let's understand this line with an example of our own country. During colonial rule, our movement was against this rule with intense feelings of nationalism. So we can say it national movement. But after 1947, if we attacked any country for our territorial expansion, it would not be a national movement. Same as in Europe after 1870s, the major European powers actually were manipulating the nationalist aspirations of the people for fulfill their imperialistic aims. Actually, each nationalist groups became intolerant of each other and ever ready to go to war. The most serious source of nationalist tension in Europe after 1871 was the area called the Balkans. The Balkan was a region of two types of variations, one geographical and second ethnic. It comprising modern-day Romania, Bulgaria, Albania, Greece, Macedonia, Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Slovenia, Serbia, and Montenegro, whose inhabitants were broadly known as the Slavs. A large part of the Balkans was under the control of the Ottoman Empire. Then the spread of the ideas of romantic nationalism in the Balkans and the disintegration of the Ottoman Empire made this region very explosive. One by one, its European subject nationalities broke away from its control and declared independence. Then the Balkan area became an area of conflict, intense conflict, when the Balkan states were fiercely jealous of each other and each hoped to gain more territory at the expense of the others. Matters became further complicated because the Balkans also became the scene of big power rivalry. During this period, there was intense rivalry among the European powers over trade and colonies, as well as naval and military might. Each power, Russia, Germany, England, Austro Hungary, was keen on countering the hold of other powers over the Balkans. This led to a series of wars in the region and finally the First World War. So, nationalism aligned with imperialism led Europe to disaster in 1914.